When you hear the name Circe, what comes to mind? Perhaps a witch? A sorceress? A dangerous woman who turned men into pigs? For thousands of years, that has been the story we've been told. She's been remembered as a temptress, a manipulator, a villain living alone on a mysterious island. But myths have a habit of changing depending on who tells them. And history has often been written by those who held the power. So today we're going to look beyond the legend. Because what if Circe wasn't evil at all? What if she was simply a woman who refused to be controlled? This is the story of Circe rewritten. Circe was no ordinary mortal. She was born to Helios, the mighty Titan, who drove the sun across the sky every single day. Imagine growing up as a daughter of the sun itself. Her mother was Oceanid, Perse, giving Circe divine blood from both sides of her family. She was surrounded by gods and immortals, yet despite her powerful heritage, she was often overlooked. Unlike many of the Olympian gods, Circe wasn't celebrated for strength in a battle or political influence. Instead, she became fascinated by something different. Nature, plants, healing, the hidden properties of herbs. She studied the earth in ways others ignored, what some called magic. Others may simply have called knowledge. Many versions of the myth describe Circe as a different from other gods. She wasn't interested in court politics. She didn't seek worship. She wasn't desperate for admiration. She preferred solitude. She lived on the island of Aeaea, far away from the noise, far away from the judgment. To some, that seemed suspicious. Even today, society sometimes struggles with women who choose independence. A woman living alone is often questioned. A woman with knowledge is sometimes feared. A woman who doesn't need approval can make others uncomfortable. Perhaps Circe wasn't unusual at all. Perhaps she was simply ahead of her time. Then came the story that would define her forever. After the Trojan War, Odysseus and her exhausted crew landed on Circe's island. The sailors entered her home. She welcomed them. She fed them, offered them wine. Then, according to the myth, she transformed many of them into pigs. For centuries, this had been used as proof that Circe was cruel. But myths rarely tell us what happened before. Who were these men? Victorious soldiers returning from a brutal war? Men who had spent years fighting, conquering, and taking. Would any woman living alone feel completely safe if a group of armed strangers suddenly appeared at her door? The myths don't ask that question, but perhaps they should. Because viewed through a different lens, Circe's actions begin to look less like random cruelty and more like protection. There's another way to read this famous transformation. Circe didn't create monsters. She revealed them. The men became pigs because pigs represented uncontrolled appetite, greed, selfishness, impulsiveness. Some scholars believe the transformation wasn't simply physical, it was symbolic. It showed that already existed beneath the surface. Perhaps Circe's magic didn't change who they were. Perhaps it revealed who they had become. And that's a very different story. Eventually, Odysseus himself arrived. Warned by the messenger god Hermes, he carried a magical herb that protected him from Circe's spells. When Circe realised her magic couldn't affect him, something unexpected happened. She didn't fight him. She didn't seek revenge. Instead, they spoke. They learned from one another. In many versions of the myth, Odysseus remained on her island for an entire year, not as a prisoner, but as a guest. Their relationship has been interrupted in countless ways. Some see romance, others see companionship. Perhaps it was something far more human. Two weary souls finding peace in one another's company before life demanded they continue their journeys. Eventually, Circe helped him. She didn't destroy him. She guided him. She warned him of dangers ahead. She told him how to survive the journey through the underworld. Without Circe's wisdom, Odysseus may never have made it home. The word witch carries centuries of fear, but in ancient myths, women with knowledge of herbs, medicine, and nature were often viewed with suspicion. Knowledge itself can be threatening, especially when it belongs to someone society struggles to control. Throughout history, countless women have been labelled dangerous, simply because they were intelligent, independent, or unwilling to obey. Circe became one of the mythology's most famous examples, not because she lacked compassion, but because she possessed power. Perhaps that's why her story still resonates today. Circe reminds us that boundaries are not cruelty. Protecting yourself is not selfish. Choosing solitude isn't failure. Knowledge is not something to apologise for. How many women today are described as difficult? Simply because they say no. How many are labelled intimidating? Simply because they refuse to shrink themselves. How many are misunderstood because they won't become who others expect them to be? Circe speaks to every person who has ever been judged before being understood. Every generation rewrites its myths, and perhaps that's exactly what we're doing now. Maybe Circe wasn't the villain. Maybe she was the guardian of her own peace. A healer, a scholar, a woman who understood that power without wisdom is dangerous. But wisdom without courage changes nothing. Her story reminds us to question the labels history has handed down, because sometimes the people remembered as monsters were simply those who refused to surrender who they truly were. The myths of ancient Greece have survived for thousands of years. But perhaps the greatest lesson they offer isn't about gods or monsters. It's about us, about the stories we inherit, the people we judge, and the truths waiting beneath the surface. If you've enjoyed rediscovering Circe's story, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you think history misunderstood her? Or do you believe the old legends got it right? Let me know in the comments below. And if you'd like to continue exploring the forgotten truths behind the gods, goddesses and heroes of ancient mythology, don't forget to subscribe to Gods Rewritten. Until next time, keep questioning the stories you've been told. Take care. All the best.